There was one mother who didn't let things slide. Her name was Mrs. Abeer, a strong woman from Port Harcourt. Loud voice, sharp eyes, and never afraid to speak her mind. Her daughter, Amarka, was in SS2. When Mrs. Abeer came to visit, she was shocked. Amarka looked thin. Her eyes were red. She couldn't finish a spoon of food, and her hands shook when she tried to open her water bottle. "What's wrong with you?" she asked. "Nothing, Mummy," Amarka said. "Just tired." But Mrs. Abeer knew her child. Amarka was always sharp, energetic, full of jokes. This girl sitting in front of her looked like a shadow. She turned to the principal, who had come out smiling. "What's happening in this school?" she asked. "Madam, it's just the books. They're reading for exams," the principal replied. Mrs. Abeer said. "Okay." And she left, not with worry on her face, but fire in her eyes. That night, something else happened. A girl in the dormitory, Rita, didn't eat rice that day. She wasn't fasting, she wasn't sick. She just said the food smelled off and didn't feel hungry. While the others were snoring after lights out, Rita was lying on her bed, wide awake. That was when she heard footsteps. Rita heard the footsteps again and again. At first, she thought maybe it was a hostel prefect. But then, the footsteps came closer. She quickly turned on her side, shut her eyes halfway, and pretended to be asleep. But her heart was pounding. Then she saw her. "Madam Oyo-yo." As she entered the dorm, she began to whisper words Rita couldn't understand. The incantation was soft, but the air in the room changed. It felt colder, heavier. Then, right in front of Rita's eyes, Madam Oyo-yo began to shift. Her face had changed, older, cracked, like dried mud. Her fingers were long, and her eyes, they weren't normal. In seconds, she had become an old, terrifying-looking woman. Her teeth long and sharp, her fingernails like curved knives. Her wrapper dragged on the ground behind her, leaving a black trail only Rita seemed to notice. She moved from one bed to another, whispering something and placing one long finger on each student's forehead. Only the student who had eaten jollof rice that evening. As her finger touched their skin, a faint grey smoke rose from their heads and floated into the small black pot she carried. Rita was shaking. She could barely breathe. Her whole body was frozen, but her eyes were wide open now. When Madame Oyo-yo got close to her bed, Rita almost screamed, but she grabbed her blanket and covered her mouth, tears running down her face. Madame Oyo-yo stood by her bed for a moment, sniffing the air. Then she turned away. She didn't touch Rita. She didn't take anything from her. Because Rita hadn't eaten the rice. When she was done, Madame Oyo-yo turned, whispered something into the pot, and walked out the same way she came in. It took Rita over an hour to move. When she finally sat up, she checked the faces of the girls around her. They were all sleeping peacefully. To be continue, like and comments for the next part.